States, and it's got to arrive with enough time for me to.
All right. Welcome on back to some Twitch streaming. So, I'm your host A-Rye, and I am testing out OBS. So, made a lot of adjustments, and here we go. In fact, actually, let's look at our "We'll be right back" scene real quick. Ah, so sick. It's all my pictures of graffiti from around the world. Um, and of course, my intro, my own graffiti. But enough of that. Let's get into some of the tech. So, for this test, I wanted to actually. Oh, and there I am. All right, and yeah, my other video or monitor is that way. So, hello everybody. Welcome on back. I do have the chat room. We can go ahead and clear that. I was testing to see. Yeah. So I mean, everything's still kind of a little wonky. You can see my broom back here. I'll get a little bigger one of these. But for now, we can actually do, excuse me, all sorts of cool stuff. In fact, let's go ahead and refresh that. I can do Clash of Code. I just did one of those as a test. I actually did pretty good. I got an easy one, so that was okay. This is my main account on Coding Game. I can even do my backup account. Hmm. Let's see. There we go. I'm trying to hide all the other stuff. Like you can't see my top URL bar. You can't see. Oh, you can see me though. So every time I take my headphones off and cough, I gotta remember that because usually I don't stream with video, or I haven't because it's so much harder on the computer. But this is me, A-Rye Dose, on my follow along to try to do. Yeah, I just started. Like, let's see, level 2. Got, yeah, some stuff, not a whole lot. Definitely not what I have on my main, which is. Wait, no, how do I go? Okay. I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm logged in on this. So, anyways, yeah, this is me. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Stop. Back. Okay, good. Whew. Let's actually look at this real quick. So the challenge, before I go too far away from this and lose it, is that this isn't really persistent. This will disappear. I mean, if you have this really long hash in the URL, you'll get to keep it. But basically, this was the code that I did. I got 100% accurate a minute later than that other person. And basically, what the concept was for this one, um, Actually, I guess I should say we'll be getting into some of my website. I've got my GitHub pulled up. This is my website that I need to fix up, and we'll do this. We'll be bouncing around a little bit. But anyways, back to this. They gave an input of the health of a tower, and then the level, which was just like the level of damage that you do or something, and then the total. I added this. So this was what I added in, and then I did this. So very simple. I mean, the concept was is no matter what you're going to do 200 damage, and then every level adds an additional 20 damage. So, and you have to do, it's like a 0 or 1 base index, so I had to adjust it to -1 to get what they were looking for. And what they wanted is a printout of either hey 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 ha, and then the resulting what it was, or rar, and then the resulting basically. And these were chosen by them, by the challenge. In fact, I think I can see this. Um, uh, where is I think these are all bots anyway. I've definitely seen this one and this one. Bitwolf. That one, it looks like a bot, although I don't know. Maybe that's. Let's see. I don't know. But anyways, let's go ahead and do another one because that was fun. We'll do some of these. I'm gonna do this for about an hour. Do a good test. I mean, ideally, I would like to get this working because this and also all this stuff. It just looks like garbage, hot garbage. And I'm sorry to share this out. What is even all this? Yeah, these are all they're jumbled because of the way that I handled. Ugh, yeah, that looks disgusting. We'll fix that. Yep, that's me, Alex A-Rye Ryan, and like I-25. It's always under construction. That's our major interstate in Colorado. It's always under construction. But let's do a coding clash. Oh, that's pretty loud. Let's turn that down. Um, yeah, that's good. So that's definitely a bot. I've seen that one before. It'll start in about like 2 minutes. It'll actually beep for us. So while we're doing that, go ahead and go back here. So this is my GitHub website. So I didn't realize that GitHub allows you to post a website. It's just that your .io, and this is what it looks like. You could do your HTML, CSS, and in fact, I have my separate folders here. You can see that. And right now, it's not linking the JavaScript. And so if we actually, I should have already. Well, let's go back here and see my CodePen. See if one of these will work. Yes. All right. No, it didn't work. Never mind. So the links actually don't go anywhere. Let's see where are we at with this in 40 seconds. All right. And see, you can already see like that person either they've been playing for was it like 3 hours? Because I did this clash when I first started setting up for the stream. So I'm guessing that's a bot. And 30 seconds. So, anyways, what it could do. Yeah. Try not to. You got to be careful with what you share on the screen because anybody can be watching this, anybody can be recording this. You just got to assume that people are out for less than honorable intentions when they're trying to gather information on you. So, all right, here we go. It could be one of three types. Those that haven't done a Clash of Code, that's either fastest, code golf, or shortest. There we go. This is code golf. So you have to pass the maximum number of tests with the lowest code size. All right, so what is this? If the input number n is even, divided by 2, and if the result is still even, repeat the process k times until the resulting number p is odd and output p. What? So input, you get an integer, output p, an odd integer such as ah. Okay. So first you got to figure out what's even going on here. So you get a number, right? N, that's the input. and you got to divide it by 2. I guess that's right. 6 divided by 2 is 3. That's all right. So, uh, so I'd say like while n is greater than 0, if n divided by 2 trying to remember what to even do with that. To tell if it's even, in fact, actually, let's go. Is even Python. Oh yeah, you can't actually see the bar. I mean, you can see all that other stuff. Like, Python does not have a built-in is even function. However, checking, yeah, the modulo. So the modulo is one option. It's considered even, yeah, if the modulo is 0. So modulo finds remainder. Okay, so yeah, you'd set it up like that. If num, so whatever we have, modulo 2 is it, then, yeah, sorry, my voice is going to get dry. Or my throat's going to get dry. Also, oh wait. Okay, I was going to say, I can't see if anybody chats, so if somebody chats in this, sorry, we might not see it. So, but I can open up the chat room, and yeah, but anyways. And that's how I used to stream too. I mean, I'm not really in it quite to be like, we'll see. Well, it's a work in progress. But anyways, for this, we only have 15 minutes too. Like, where's the time on this? Oh well. So we got to do like so all this in parentheses. Um, if 2 if it is even, n equals n divided by 2, else print n break. I think that's all we need to do. Let's go ahead and, so what all that's doing is you're checking to see if it's even. If it's not, you divide it again, and then if it is, you print it and you break. Oh. Oh. Now I got it. And no. I got it. I got it. So what we need to do is take all this out, just n. So if it's n even, let's try that. You can force it to truncate off of the decimal point if you just. All right, and wait. So we gotta go over here, play all the test cases. Yeah, I think we got it. All right. Oh, the other two bots gave up. All right. So basically, what's going on here? Let's go ahead and submit it, and then we can talk about it. Oh, no. So what we got to do? So it's code golf. We got to make it as small as we can. So you take out all the spaces, get rid of all these, make it nice and claustrophobic. Oh, nope. You got to retain the functionality. Oh, ah. And I think that's about it. All I can take out. Now I know there's like a tertiary way of writing this, to where um, you can have it do an either or, an if statement like that, and you can do it like if this isn't, then let's see. Huh. All right, cool. I have no idea how to tell certain things with this, but there we go, and we got it. So let's go ahead and submit. Oh, well, let's test it. Let's make sure I didn't break anything. So it's testing everything. Let's go back and let's see. Can we just do that? All right, yeah. Now I'll click this button. So you can see that 5, 25, so it's like showing the number each time and that it worked. So go and do that. Submit. Share my code with the other bots that. So this one will continue to clash. Like, and I do love coding game for this. Like, you know, and a lot of companies do this. Fortnite, it's really obvious too that they'll have bots in there just to fill the lobbies. And the problem is you can't predict like when well, you can't really predict when like there's going to be millions of people on, and you also can't really control that. I mean, and there might be, so you got to do things like add in bots. So in order to make it to where a code clasher can clash anytime they want, they have to do that. So let's actually duplicate that. I was just curious going back and looking like if we did need to do, so there's me, profile, let's see kind of, yeah, those are all the people I'm following. Um, which is interesting because I have a lot of like, I mean, there's some real ones that like recognize me from stuff, but oh, Clash is done. I was the only one. Oh, let's see what he did. Wow. What? So while it's even, oh, they also took all the imports out. So while it's even, and then that double slash is where it does integer math. So that's kind of like how I force the casts with the int to make it truncate off the dot zero. Now, if you do the double slash, that means divide with only integer math. So it does that truncation. So, all right, cool. I mean, my whole thing is like if it works and like if it actually passes all the test cases, I call that a success at least. So, let's see here. Okay, and I'm still gonna have to adjust some other things, but all right, let's go back to my website. So, actually, might as well just do this. Whatever. Like if people see my stuff, they'll see my stuff. I do have monitoring devices on my network, but you're not gonna catch everything. So hopefully, people are nice. Governments, I don't know. And really, it's the governments you got to watch out for. And like, even then, if they see my stuff, they're probably like scarred, and I find comfort in that. Not illegal though. I assume, we always got to assume that the government can see into all your stuff. So any of that nonsense, just gotta dust my eye. Anyways, so this is CodePen.io, which is this awesome free resource, and that's how I originally hosted all of my websites. Yeah, it looks pretty good there. And you can see I have a functioning theme selector. Now, caution, El Fuego was designed to be offensive, so avert your eyes. Okay, it's not so bad. It's not pleasant, but it's not terrible, I guess, on this other screen that I'm looking at. Let's go back to Matrix. That's probably my favorite one. It's nice and easy on the eyes. And even within this theme, I need to fix these two things because I didn't mean for that to be that way. I just meant more like this color. Um, yeah, and this is something I made back when I first graduated. Or no, that was actually. So I finally got my degree in 2016. Uh oh. Oh no. I don't know if my keyboard is gonna last. That's gonna be bad. I just realized it's about to die. We're only like 20 minutes into the stream. That's the other thing. Well, let's go ahead and. We have technology. We will adapt. I'm plugging in my wireless keyboard that is actually a switcher. It's awesome. I can plug it in. So now I don't have a mouse. So now I got to do this, and it's going to be kind of painful. But um, anyways, we'll let that charge for a bit. But I can't tell stream stats. Like if there is a comment, oh, and I need to fix that. So I've cleared the chat. Um, this is gonna be pretty fun. I'm gonna be playing around with this for the next bit. I'm gonna be taking some time off from work here. I've actually got a very busy time coming up, so I got to do it soon. before I hit the beginning of the semester. So, and first thing I do is I grab my mouse, which isn't gonna work. Oh, and it's all dusty on the mouse pad too. It's ghetto, but it's all right. Okay, so we have this, and basically what CodePen does is it allows you to develop web projects side by side. Like it's got the HTML here, the CSS here, the JavaScript here, and that's what's broken with this. So I have it in my index. I'm still trying to figure out. So I have the script linked here. It's in the JavaScript folder. I'm almost wondering. So, and the one above it has the CSS file. Oh, oh my gosh, I feel so dumb. All right, I see what's going on here. All I got to do is check what works for the. I was about to say. So the CSS works. It's dot slash. That's it. So the dot means here in the current directory, and that's usually what Linux is. I think it's the same for Windows. I'm still learning Windows. I Most of the development that I learned was in Linux, like system admin stuff and scripting and all that fun stuff. So as far as navigation of like file directories and whatnot, Linux uses the dot for here, dot dot for up, and then dot slash. I guess that makes sense. Either way, let's see it. Let's see if that fixed it. So commit changes. Hopefully linked the JS file for the theme selector. There we go. I've been trying to add little messages on each of my commits. I am committing directly to the master branch, which you would not do if this was a partner project or if this was a professional project. Now, this is just me screwing around, so it doesn't really matter. But if you were working on a project with some people, some colleagues, you should be branching and only doing the changes to the branch, and then you need to communicate with the other people in your team or group, everybody that's involved in it. Be like, hey, I'm about to push a change. Would somebody like to review my code? Because it could very well break something. I mean, again, I'm not really too worried about this because it's already broken. So let's go ahead and reload this. Here's the moment of truth. Nope. Okay, maybe I need to do hardly reload, which is control shift, control shift F5, shift F5, control F5. You can do all of them. I forget which one it is. And no, it's still not working. So I want to say that there's not enough things in there. So if you notice that the link for, so this is where I go. Actually, yeah, you can't really see a lot of that stuff. You can see my Facebook, LinkedIn, Scratch, Twitch, my thousands and thousands of emails on this account too. This is just one of like 6 accounts that I have. Good luck. And that served me well in the past. I think anybody who's actually hacked my stuff has probably ripped their hair out from frustration. So because I just have so much fake stuff, and that's my real YouTube. But anyways, W3 schools add and my search history. Well, it's a good thing. It's a good thing this one's pretty clean. All right, add JS file. There we go. So JavaScript where to the source. Let's actually go here because this is kind of more specifically what I'm trying to find. So yeah, that's as simple as it looks like it's supposed to be. Just the script tag, opening and closing. Oh, I mean that shouldn't matter. This is the source. Yeah, so everything is contained within the opening tag, the actual source, the file path to the source, or for the value of the source where you're trying to find this file. And so, yeah, now let's look as far as like an example in, oh, they don't have an example. They do say the external script file cannot contain the script tag. So it's basically this. That's all it is. It's just document get element by, and then it's all these. Oh, you know what? Even when it is linked, I forgot. It's everything in here. So I got to do the body and the HTML and main nav bar and second nav bar. So those two won't really change. Although, what do I actually have in here? Well, let's go here. So this. Oh, oh man, let's actually do this. We don't need CSS, and we actually don't even need to do the JavaScript. So we have the HTML ID, the body, we have the brand row. Okay. Does that change in the? That shouldn't change. Oops. Yeah, that's just the buttons. The background is changing. Oh, so pistachio is probably my favorite. Pistachio or citrusine. Now, citrusine is actually another Twitch streamer that, well, here's a funny story real quick. So when I was originally trying to Twitch stream, and I was testing out and I was doing this, and see, this is why like it's kind of dangerous because I don't know how many people are watching. Maybe zero. There was three when I started. Like, yeah, I don't know, but um, like, can I see it here? Where is my? Yeah, okay. Either way, so but Anthony writes code rated with like 130 people, and so then I followed him, started watching his stuff, and then he's a friend of Citrusine, and that's how I found Citrusine, and I made a because this was also when I was looking for a job, so I was doing a bunch of coding projects and trying to brush up on stuff to show proficiency in different areas because I didn't even know what my next job was going to be: software developer, web developer, IT. I mean, so I was just doing all sorts of stuff, which each one of these, which you can see it's even not lining up, it's kind of garbage. Like, it's kind of embarrassing showing some of this stuff. But anyways, I did that and I was like, hey, I made a CSS theme. And, and people were nerdy enough to understand what I was talking about. It was awesome. So, and then submarine and standard are pretty similar. Standard, that's the normal one. Arabic version, this is fun. So, and I do have some friends that speak Arabic, and they said that this is not right, because the way Google Translate does is so it's backwards, first of all, for what English reads. Like Arabic reads right to left, English goes left to right. And so already there were problems with me copying and pasting half of it and then translating it. So this Arabic I think is mostly gibberish. Like, I don't think it's that good. So let's go back to, so we got all these. Yeah, I like the Matrix, Citrusine, and Pistachio. Like, those are my favorite. El Fuego, it does kind of hurt if you're not ready for it, and it's like you gotta try to. So I don't know. But then people will have like completely white computers, and it drives me nuts. So all right, so the website, what we got to do is, so that's what it is. I can click these buttons, but it's not going to do anything. And I already added, oops, so now I'm right clicking things. I already added the HTML and the body to those things, so it should. Oh, I see the other error. Oh my gosh. This is why, like, can we chat? No. Once we gotta start having people in there, they might be like, hey, this is what's going on. It's right there. Alright, so let's edit that. And there's actually a way to do an editor in the browser. Alright, there we go. It's not .oscs, and that's open source computer science, by the way. That's my original thing right there. Commit the change. Removed an extra dot in the file path for the JS file. There we go. I think that's all it was. and that's computer science in a nutshell. If you want to get into a tech job, like, that's all it is. Is like, you fix things, you make things, you'll break things, and then you'll fix them again, and then you'll meet with your team and talk about what broke. All right, so now Control Shift F5, Control F5, Shift F5. That, whatever, it doesn't matter. And Ah, it's still not. Wait, did I save the? And my hands are like doing this because I'm using the trackpad on the laptop. It's hot too, so I did test it. So hopefully you're not hearing that fan that's going on. So even just looking at this, and what does it look like on here? Okay, so I mean the file needs to be spelled correctly. The file path. Let's see. CSS looks like this. I got my steez. Yeah. It's not all that exciting. Like there's nothing. In fact, we could see it. I mean, I think I just threw some stuff together that was basically a hack together of the other one. Is there a closing? Let's see. W3 CSS. Um, link CSS file. There we go. So let's do that. How to add CSS to a website. Link. Okay, because I was thinking maybe it was like an ahref, which there is an href or a header reference or whatever in there. There's not a closing tag. That's what I was thinking maybe. But the CSS actually works, and the way that I know that is because this doesn't look just white and plain and, you know, but it's still not. Well, I do know that whatever this is, so I can look for those titles, needs to have the same as this. So let's go ahead and move this down. All right, and that main navbar, class navbar. So that's actually what I have in here. Let's go ahead and, although didn't I? Well, let's try it. Let's just look. If I don't have it, we'll just replace it with this. So go back in here. Oh, no. Here. Yeah, ID main navbar, class navbar. And so those are two different ways that you can control the style or identify a div, which is a division, or really anything. You can make an ID into a specific H2, which is a type of header. The UL is the unordered list, like all this stuff. You can actually add these descriptors in there to give it a specific ID, and then you can actually target all of those places where you added that ID. Oh wait, no. ID is unique. You can't have the same, it's a one-to-one thing. So each thing can only have, each element in a website can only have one ID. However, it can have multiple elements can have the same class. So I have the navbar class, and this is actually kind of hacky because if and I remember going through this a lot. Like I'd change something in main navbar, then I'd want it applied to both navbars. Then I would have to move it over to just navbar. And actually already, so we could look at the CSS for this, and this is why. This is why my website is all messed up. So what I need to do, list.navbar, I think. Let's see. So, and if I were to ask W3 a question, I would do, well, actually, let's just look at CSS. Class, let's see. It's not necessarily alphabetical here. Let's see, it's fine. Control find class. Pseudo classes. Let's see, what's the other one they have? Pseudo class references, and let's go to pseudo classes. So that might actually be what we're looking for. So I can change. Oh, and the li is the list item. So you got the ul and the li. Those two usually go together, and actually the li works for the ol, which is an ordered list. What is a pseudo class? So that's like a li. Can you do it for a li? Yeah. All right. So this is what I was talking about. So A is an anchor you could do, which is like the wording or the anchor for a hyperlink, and so that's how you hover visitor. Okay. So this isn't actually what I was looking for. Never mind. Because the pseudo class, the A is a specific one. So anchor element is like it's a link. So there, in fact, even you can see there's a description there. There's unvisited link. There's visited link. Mouse over link, so hovering over, they call it hover there. Um, and you can change the behavior of a link based on that, which is really useful. In fact, I keep reaching for that mouse. As you can see, the hover is where it highlights it like a cell in a spreadsheet. Like, okay, this is the one that you're about to click. Are you sure you want to click that one? And that's why we do this, is because, like, I mean, this would help. Now, if you go back to my website, even the one that's supposed to be good or finished, well, there's a little hover there, but I think that's built in. Hold on. Excuse me. So you got to go. I think that's just default behavior for a button. Now, if you go here, I don't have a hover. I don't have a visited either, because all that does is that jumps down to the specific section. So in this website, all it is it's like, there's my intro, tells me a little bit about me, my passion with science, and really anybody that studies this stuff, it's really hard not to develop a passion for it if you're taught right. Like, I mean, if you're given a chance, if you're given a way to. Oh, and this was all before I got into Twitch too. So I used to host all this stuff on Replit, and then I have it on GitHub now. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at all my projects, because, I mean, yeah. Also, I need to check. Can I see the? Oh, all right, cool. So, like, this is just my website. If you go back to here, there's Mr. Smuff. Ugh. Sorry, it's getting sweaty. So, all my stuff is here. We've got and my things. Let's see. So all of my pins, I've got Java, Bash, JavaScript, Python. Python's pretty interesting. Let's look at that. So I took all of my favorite Code Wars. Oh, we should do another Code Clash actually, because that was pretty fun. But and I wanted to do more streaming tonight. I just wanted to test this and see like how it kind of looks. And I was gonna try to get some work done on my website, but I'm quickly losing ambition on that. I think I'd rather do challenges and stuff. So these are all different Python files. Let's just click into one that reflect a Code Wars challenge. So this one will be, there we go. It even does the level. Like, can you see that? I wonder if I can kind of collapse this. Yes. Look at that. All right, so now you can actually see more of it. You can't see all of it. I'd have to like move over. But actually, something more being said. So you're actually missing quite a bit here. In fact, let's just go. Yeah, you're not even going to see the end of it. Being said, was it hard to figure out? But anyways, so this is a level 6 kata on Code Wars. It says there's a secret message in the first 6 sentences of this kata description. Have you ever felt like there was something more being said? Some of this. Wait. What? What is this even? Like, oh, jeez. Okay. Your job is to write a function that will find the secret words of the message and return them in order. The words in the secret message should be ordered in which they are found as a duplicate. For example, this is a test. This test is fun. This test is. The input will always be a string. If the random tests repeat a word multiple times, it should show up in the secret message only once, based on the position. Wow. Okay, so this is what I wrote for it. Okay. I think this makes sense. So the first little bit here is sanitizing the data. So you've got word list equals the paragraph all change to lower, so you eliminate all the case the case differences, which could change a word and make it different than another word, because technically a word that has a capital letter at the beginning is different than one that does not have that, which is all lowercase as far as computers are concerned. So, which is a good thing. You want to be able to determine that. So, but it is a pain because you have to constantly do stuff like this. So, I mean, this is going to lowercase, the very first thing, that function that's being called there, and then replacing the dots with nothing, the exclamation points with nothing, the commas with nothing, the question marks. So anything, basically punctuation, anything that can be at the end of a word, and that's actually what's this last thing is I'm splitting it by spaces. So the default for a split is a space. You can specify the delimiter in here in the split function, but so basically what that line is doing is it's taking everything in this string. So actually, let's a little bit. We've got this function here, and that is defined. You're defining a function here, and this whole thing is the function actually. Like this all. Oops. Ah, using a trackpad for a mouse like a barbarian. I'm just kidding. um. Anyways, yeah. So you're making everything lowercase. So even if it's like the word and, if it has a capital N, which you're not supposed to start a sentence in English grammar with that. So if it's a capital A and then a lowercase a, those same words. And then all of that is just to sanitize the data. So the incoming stream, and then that split at the end is creating a list. So in Python, a list is an array of things, items. And that's the cool thing with Python is you can actually put different types of items in a list, whereas like say Java, you can't. And or I mean, not without some extra doing. I think you could do like wrappers and stuff like that. But so yeah, and then return string, that's just constructing the return string to be returned at the end of the function, making a new list, and then the return list. So I think the string is what is going to be returned. See at the very end here it says return string. See, I'm pointing at my screen. I'll just highlight it for you. So return the return string. Now what I was doing was I was constructing a list of the secret message. So as you pull out words that you're finding, I'm still trying to figure out what it's like. If it appeared a second time, it's now there's a secret message in the first 6 sentences of this kata description. Have you ever felt like there was something more being said? Was it hard to figure out that unspoken meaning? Never again. Never will a secret go undiscovered. Find all duplicates from our message. Your job is to write a function that will find the secret words of the message and return them in order. The words in the secret message should be ordered in the order in which they are found as a duplicate. There we go. So if it's said second time, so right here, there is a secret message in the first 6 sentences. So basically what this is doing is it's taking all of these words, I guess this description here, and it's putting it into word by word. So each thing that's separated by spaces, it's like dealing them out like, okay, all lowercase, everything is now lowercase. It took everything that's uppercase and made it into lowercase. And it chops the words, so there is a secret message in the, and then, but does it ever repeat? So there is a, and see, that's the thing, doing it by hand be kind of hard to see. So let's see, is this keyboard done yet? I mean, it's not done, but we're gonna put the mouse back in. Yeah. All right. So, trying to think of how to run a Python file just on the fly. I mean, I'm sure you could do it here. What is this? Open symbols panel. Oh, I know. Let's do this. Let's go into here. This is the other fun thing. You go to my playgrounds. Yeah, I'm up in FOCO. Not really, but it's nice because that's just one piece of misdirect. People see this and be like, oh, he's in Fort Collins. I'm in Colorado somewhere. At any given time, I'm anywhere, But, oh, and then these are my things. Oh, I didn't like that one. All right, well, I'm gonna go like my thing. You can like your own. You're worth one like, at least one like. And interesting, Java is so much more liked than Python. And well, actually, this is pretty cool. But this isn't the one that I was looking for. This is about online voting. And I am very political with a lot of things, but not really. I mean, I recognized long ago that I was being led around by my emotions, and I was doing some hacktivism, which not really bad. Nothing that like the feds would want to get at me for, but social engineering and manipulation and stuff, and like not very good stuff. So not very horrible, but anyways, it's kind of like it's scarier than it sounds. But I realized I was being an aggressive one party or the other, and I knocked it off. But since that, I've been much more logical about politics and stuff now, which is actually kind of interesting because, and we'll get into that probably in the next stream. I mean, again, this is a test one. I want to see like if things are sound good, sound terrible. I want to see if like people can see that because that was a problem when the last time I was streaming was I would port over the videos to YouTube and you couldn't see it. It was all fuzzy. So I tried to teach, and I still have. I've taught a few people how to code, and basically, if you still go and watch the video of me making this, in fact, I linked it here. Let's go to the first page intro. There it is. There's my YouTube channel, A-Rye. What up? And then you've got the playlist for learning Python and the video of me making this. Let's go ahead and check that out. Yeah, so it's almost 3 hours. And I started with a 5-minute intro. This is me back when, oof, almost 2,000 views too. Of those, probably a lot bots though, because what I was doing for a while there is I was like sharing my video link and stuff. Oh, let's look at old me. Oh, look at that. So young and full of hope and ambitions. Let's dislike the video. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. But I don't have a beard. Yes, yes. Still chubby. Still a little. And you can see in my background there, I have like a drying. Actually, it's the same drying rack. But that's an easy way to have. And I do have a Broncos blanket, but you can't do that because of the logo, the icon. Or well, yeah, and which makes sense. You don't want to like get in trouble with them, and I don't represent them officially and all that. I could get sued, even probably even just well, and I can't saying it, but you got to be careful with what you do. But anyways, in fact, let's go ahead and turn the sound off of that. So this was, and I love that YouTube did this. It broke it up into sections. So each one of the sections in the playground, and they call these tutorials playgrounds that I did, is broken up here in a division. If you watch this all the way through, you find out, or like you learn the method behind the madness with every one of these things. Like so, of this, there's 13 subcategories, or basically 17 pages on this tutorial. You've got everything from yeah, hello world all the way down to sorting algorithms. And so let's actually do uh, let's look at recursion. Recursion is always fun. It pretzels the mind a little bit because basically what it does, yeah, you can see that. And I was actually just going to copy and paste that Code Wars challenge into here. But if you look at this, you're taking this, which is actually, I mean, I have it in my loops. Let's actually look at the loops first. So you have a string. You have a test string or test stir, and in Python speak, str stands for string. And you do snake case, not camel case. Camel case is more for Java and JavaScript. Snake case is traditionally more for Python. Hence, it's a Python, it's a type of snake, but also that means everything's lowercase. You separate words or sections with an underscore and all that. So this is a loop to print out every letter in that. This is a loop to print by index? What did I do with this? You can go ahead and run it and see. See, it prints one letter each line, but it's based by index, whereas here, you're printing the char, the character, and just like string is stir, char is character. And actually, char is character in a lot of languages. Like, in fact, Java, which is the one I learned first, that's how we even just like started, was just that. So, Anyways, so basically the whole thing is it's printing out one letter at a time. That one, it's showing you the numbers in the range. If you go to that, it's going to do 1 through 100. Actually, 1 through 99. So that's where you got to be careful. So the range of n, which is 100, so it's got to be inclusive. So, anyways. And I thought I did n plus 1, and it's only showing the odds, actually, I just realized. Never mind. Wait, what? It's stepping by 2. Okay, so it's start, stop, and step is how this works in the range. It will. Ugh, that's all. And I talk about all that in that video. In fact, wait, is that still going? Let's pause that because it's interfering with my. Because as I'm streaming and broadcasting this up, it's pulling this video down, and my internet is a lot faster at this house. So, like, I can have 4 or 5 devices going at the same time and notice only a slight drop in performance. So it's awesome. So, which means I might actually start doing some Minecraft videos on this. But anyways, if you watch this whole 3 hours, you'll learn how everything, single one of these pieces works. Let's go ahead and go back to recursion because that's just fun. Um, there's still a bug in this too. Almost 52,000 views. Wait, can you see that? Oh no, you can't. Okay, well I can do this. 52,000 views, but now I need to. Oh, I know where to go back. I can just put it right back up here. Okay, because I measured it out to where it chops off the URL bar, chops off my start bar, so you're not able to see all the programs I have running, which I don't have many, because to stream you want to close everything, and you can't see my favorites bar, and you can't see all the tabs that I have open. So it's by design. But anyways, recursion. So we start off with the test string here. Oh, and actually we're getting kind of close to an error, which will be a good test. Yeah. So, um, so you have the string, recurse this, so it's a function that's being recursed, and then so it's printing every time. So, but the base case or the where you stop the recursion is right here, the if, and this is it's going to kick it out. In fact, does it? That almost doesn't look like it's going to work. I mean, it does, but this is the base case. All right. Oh, I see. I see. The base case doesn't call it again. That's how okay, I get it now. So recurse this is a call to this function that's defined here. So it's calling itself multiple times. Now, it's fed in an integer, just n, it's a number. If it's 1, which is the length of test string, so we're actually shrinking the test string down. And I even have a debugging statement in here, print iteration plus the string version of that, so it'll print like a 1, a 2, a 3, or whatever. Actually, it would go 3, 2, 1 because it's shrinking. Um, and so this bit of code, that kind of hurt my head a little bit, does this. Why does it do that? Print. Oh. Wait, I'm so confused actually now. Hold on, hold on. What did I do here? So, ow. And I did. I built all this horrible code. It's in the video. Like it's in fact, let's see this. HTML paragraph examples. Let's see. Comments, recursion. Oh wait, I think this is actually only part 1. I wonder because I think there's part 2 where I did a second video. It might be in examples. Let's see. And we could look at the transcripts maybe. Yeah, yeah, me talking about it 2, 3 years ago. So, anyways, let's just go back to it and kind of see what's going on here. So, if it's else, so otherwise the base case isn't being hit. The only time that the base case is hit is when n is equal to 1. That's why you have the double equal signs there. But when you go to the else, it's printing test string, which remember, test string we're shrinking down. Or no. Oh, okay. Because I was worried that I was chopping up the stream and cutting it into pieces and only showing like the one piece. What I'm doing is I'm calling recurse this with n minus one. So that's moving it, and then it's calling it in, and then once it hits one, okay. So I'm just moving the target. That's what I'm doing. And so printing, and that's what this part is right here. So that's the target. Well, actually, sorry, okay, my beard's going up my nose, but there we go. So we got that. So when you print the test string, it's still the test string is being untouched. It's hello world with the exclamation point and the space. In fact, you can even see that in the result. There is a space included, and then there's an exclamation point, and then it says, "Hey, this is the base case." And I could have thrown in an extra print, print just an empty one to make a space between there. In fact, I can even show you, like, because you can change it in here. Print. I got a charging cord in the midway here. All right, now run it. See, format it a little bit, add a little space there, make it a little nicer. So basically, yeah, it's moving it left to right. It's starting with the HELLO, and then so it's minus n. So whatever it is, so it's taking the length of it minus n, and as n is shrinking, it is. So if n started out as the length of test string, you are basically taking the length of test string, subtracting the length of test string, and printing that out. That's how you get h. Like, so like 5 minus 5 is 0, so you're getting at index 0, which is the very leftmost of a string. That's the h. So, yeah, this is cool. And again, yeah, I wrote this. I did not rip this off. Like, you can rip off code off the internet, but like this is kind of a thing. And like the other way I would do this, because yeah, I would obviously do it this way, but the other way I would do this is also like chop it. I guess you don't need to though. And you can slowly change it down to, but this preserves it. So this is actually probably the better way to code it, because then if you wanted to have this later, you would either want to make this a global variable or make a duplicate variable to copy that if you were going to change it, because there are going to be times where you need the original message and it's like, well, we just tore it up to shoot it out into a different printing form. So that's probably why I did that, because I've done that before where it's like, oh, I didn't know that I needed to keep this, and then you have to go back. It's as simple as a fix as I just said, though. You just have to make a duplicate variable, make a copy of that, and have it right next to it, and then you're fine. But then you're attacking the copy of it and slowly slicing it down to. That's where you get the ones that's like, huh, let's see. Let's look at Robert Reich's meme. We'll get a little political. Robert Reich trickle down scam meme or trickle down trick meme. That's what it is. So, and this will make sense once I show you. There. Oh no, it's a Facebook stop. Oh wait, never mind. Okay, you can see it on there. So basically, what he does is he says trickle down economics, and it's the whole string, and then he slowly chops one letter off, and he's shrinking it down and down and down and down and down until it's just trick, and that's clever thing he did. But that's also a very common thing. In fact, we'll do a code clash to end this stream, just kind of have a fun. But that's a very common thing you do in computer science classes to prove that you know how to take a string and then slowly reduce it and be able to only focus certain areas. And then out of that, you can start explaining like, well, I only want to get the first word or the second word, or if a word appears, kind of like, oh, let's do that actually. We need this, and let's take this, and we can do this paragraph, and then uh find, oh wait, no, we need to go down here, find, what was it called, secret message with, and then we take the string, which is all this, copy that, and if I wanted to, I would strip out all the which that might cause an issue. Strip out all of the comments and stuff. Let's go ahead and do. We need double quotes. Put that in there. It's gonna have an issue with that anyway. Oh, you can't do it that long. So that's gonna be a problem. But see, because of the nature of this, you can only have it so much. It can't run off. So, well, that's no fun. How would I could go to Replit. Replit's another website, but I haven't logged into that for years. It's where you can run Python script in the. Well, let's just see here. Can I? Home. Home. I mean, it's gonna be very long, but you'll notice the colors change. Actually, you can't see that. Oh no, you can. You can on the end there. You see what I see. Um, for the most part. And so, and home on the keyboard will take you to the far left. Ooh, see, there we go. And then this. Take out those, and normally you would sanitize the input and get that anyway, but I did not in this one. And actually, you got to take out the. Oh, am I gonna have to do? I either have to do escape characters or just get rid of all of the single quotes. There we go. Not a big deal. We go down, home, that out, and then that, and then that, and then that, home, about that. I swear there is going to be something fun at the end of this. Maybe, if unless it doesn't work. All right, there we go. Now it is all contained within that. Now let's do it. Okay, so so now let's see. So we're calling it with all that print end. Okay, I think that's. Oh, that's disappointing. I'm trying to figure out why it's not. It's just printing that whole thing. I'm going to find. Oh, well, there's that. So it doesn't look like it works. All right, now let's actually. So we got. So what we could do. So secret message.py. Let's actually look that up. Code Wars. Let's go to my Code Wars. Let's find secret message. Oh, I gotta log in. Can I see all that? Okay, can't really see anything. It's linked to my GitHub. I'm a rank 3. Wait, no. I'm a rank 4 Caillou. Okay, let's move this over a little bit. See, I'm a 4 with a score of 1,320, which could be more impressive. A 3 would be more impressive. That was a suggested one for me. I am going to search for, was it secret message? Secret message up. Secret message. Let's look for. Okay, a message validator. There was a 6 secret message. Here we go. So it says, in the first 6 sentences of this kata description, so that's 1. Have you ever, and then, is my solution in the top there? No. Sort by mine. There we go. So this is what I did, and that works because it's a solution here. That's the only reason. That's the only way. Oh, sweaty. That's the only way that you can do this. Is like they will post your solution that you completed the challenge successfully with, and then I copied these. So I'm wondering if it's like an actual indentation issue. It could be because before. So my return string is being built with. There was never a secret message. And then something's happening to where it's getting extra. Well, I want to see what the solution is. Like, what was the secret message? Discourse. Huh. There was never a secret message was supposed to be the thing, and it looks like. Does that look like it? It might be. There was never a secret message. And then everything after that is like a false positive. Oh, you know what? The first 6 sentences. There it is. It only wanted the first 6 sentences. That's actually I don't know if that's for sure what it is, but okay. There's no chatting. Good. So I've done that before. I did a stream where someone commented and it was just like hours later. Sorry, but expected there was never a secret message. So if you go test for no duplicates expected instead got. Huh. Well, you should always sanitize your data. If you're trying to just find repeating words, so a human would come into a problem like this and see a there and there, one capitalized, one not, as still the same word. You'd be like, well, that's still technically the same word, so that counts, and they would throw it in there. And what that human is doing is it's taking that capital T, a lot like what we just talked about earlier, and making it into a lowercase so they are identical. And the human would also look at any punctuation, any quotation marks, or any even like leet speak where you change some of the letters to numbers, and they would just be like, okay, well that's still the same word, and they would change it, fix it, massage the data, and then send it back. So, um, I think this is a good test. Let's see, about an hour. What I do is I'm going to go back and watch it, see what I need to fix with it, all that good stuff. But why not? Let's go ahead and do one more code clash. So let's do that. Let's play it again. And as you can see, you start to recognize the bots. This one might not be. That actually looks new. I haven't seen that picture, but I've seen these 3 pictures a lot. This is from Russia. Yeah. This one's from India. Oh. Hmm. I'm level 11. I actually have stuff. Like, see, like these are devoid of a company, of a school. Actually, that might even be fake too. And you can follow people that are actually actively clashing, or they just left this open. So, there we go. Let's start the clash. Fastest mode. You have to pass the maximum number of tests as fast as possible. Alright, a student has many classes and activities, causing him to have little free time. He wants to balance playing video games and studying. If he can fit both in his free time, output okay. If he cannot fit it in his free time, he will cut back on his video game time. Output how long he can play video games to fit it into his free time. Alright, so you get an N for the number of hours of free time he has, a V for the hours he wants to spend gaming, an S for the hours he wants to spend studying. So, oh, wait, the output is, oh, got it. Okay, so if N minus V is greater than S or equal to, probably, print, because that's like how you'd find a corner case, if he has just enough time, else print uh studying um you're trying to find the remainder of how he has to cut back spending. So, oh, N minus S, I think. Let's play a test case. Okay, cool. That might actually be all of it. Let's play all of them. All right, cool. Submit. I think that's it. Bada bing. Let's share the code. Oh, I got it 7 seconds later. Let's view their code. That's the same exact thing I did. If the stuff is greater than or equal to, did he change it? She, could be she. Did they change it? There you go. NVS, if V plus, oh, they did it backwards. Okay, so I did, if you take the total amount of time, you subtract out the video games, if it's greater than it, you're good. So if you have enough time to squeeze in your video game time, along with your study time. Now, see, I used to do an alternate, like all through college and stuff, and I still do it. Like if I'm doing house chores, I'll do like the dishes, clean, pick up for an hour, and then I'll stop. I'll go do video games for an hour, and I'll just go do that back and forth until the tasks are done. I mean, I don't follow it strictly, but it is a good way to, like, you're constantly rewarding yourself. So then whatever you don't finish, you just do the next day. Honestly, a lot of times now I just do what I can, what I feel like, and then do some video games and exercise too. But you got to go to the gym, or well, no, you don't have to go to the gym. You have to exercise, whatever that is. So for you, oh, they didn't want to share their code. Legoat. Yeah, I beat this person by 8 seconds. And a lot of times it is something as simple like that. It's like this other clash. It was like there's three. I don't even think it told you that. It's like you're given two angles of a triangle. Find the third. So anybody that dusts off your geometry from back in the day, a triangle has three angles. Triangle, three angles, and like a triceratops, 3 points. And the three angles add up to 180, and there's like a whole way to describe that or anything. So basically all you had to do was take 180 minus whatever they gave you, and that's what the other one was. So it was really easy in hindsight, but the thing is like coding under pressure, there's stress. Like you could do all these different languages. Like, yeah, Python's still the most popular because it's the easiest to code quickly. Except I've seen a lot of Ruby. Wait, did I not see Ruby? I saw Rust. Rust is like the new like preferred language a lot of people, because apparently it's like very efficient. Like there's C++, which is super efficient. That's what most game companies use, or a lot of game companies use, because it's like, or C code, because it doesn't have all this extra stuff built in. It just does exactly what you want. It's like a bucket of razor blades. Is how one of my professors explained it. You can do pretty much anything, but like it's also very dangerous. So yeah. Wait a minute, I'm not quite up to the. Well, I guess I started a little later than I thought I did, but anyways, this is about a good. Well, let's do another one, and then we'll. That one's still clashing, but they lost. I mean, I won, and in this fastest mode, like if you ain't first, you're last. But that's basically it. Like if you didn't finish in the, I mean, they could just finish right now. Although that's you got to kind of let them keep doing that because that looks like it might actually be like a real person. Benin. Huh. But if you look at one of the other ones, let's look at Chich Chichkorg. See, they don't have anything. Oh no. And 500 games of Clash of Code. Oh, I believe it. I've seen him do so many. Um. Okay, no, I guess they do fill all these things out. Are there any puzzles? Because if you look at this one puzzle uncertified. So there we go. Oh, finish it. Didn't share the code. Or no, there they are. Didn't share it. Did C++, which is more admirable than what I did. I did Python just because it's super easy. Let's go ahead, and I was ranked first. See, and I was ranked 2 out of 4 on the last one. Have I done 3 clashes? What was that other one I just did? Oh well, let's do another one. Alright, how do I get out of here? No. Okay. Play again. My A-Rye dose. So yeah, you can see that on there. Okay. Yep, I've seen that person before. Super Muppet. That's Mr. Smuff, by the way. That's my icon. That's my mascot. Been drawing him for many years. The blue screen of death, I've seen that before. Yeah, so far these are all bots. Very well familiar. And yeah, so. Oh, I'm so excited for this. Like, I still got to do a few more tweaks. Like, I want it to be where I can see the chat over the video, because like a lot of streamers, what they'll have, as you know, for anyone who knows or watches a lot of streams, then you've already seen how your favorite streamers have the opacity set up to where it's just the word, or at least my favorite. I mean, everybody, I guess, different preferences, I suppose, but I like to see like more of the screen, what's going on, so I'm not worried about is it falling off the screen or what have you. I mean, yeah. And then I'll be able to read it too. So that was the problem with porting over a lot of my Twitch streams from the first time to my YouTube. Alright, so no matter what, 20 seconds, 23, 22, all that, it'll just be us 4 if nobody else joins. So, but I would like to get to the point where I've got enough people following to where we could all just jump into something like this. I'll probably stream Sunday evenings and try to make it a semi-regular thing. Maybe at least one Sunday a month, maybe all of them, and I don't know what time. So, and I'm kind of a little worried. I don't really want people to. All right, shortest mode, so you can still win. It's not timed. It's more like if you get it short, which I'm gonna just struggle at. Ugh. Sweaty, thirsty. All right, let's do this. So Bob has in his sock box multiple pairs of socks with N different colors. The pairs are separated and distributed randomly on the box. Bob can't see the colors of the socks because the room is dark and he's in a hurry. For a match of football, he only needs 2 socks of the same color. Given the number N of the different sock colors he has, So that's not an English speaker, I'm guessing. Number n of the different sock colors he have. Output the least amount of socks he should take out from the box so he could have at least 2 socks of the same color. So, oh, wait a minute. Isn't it just n? N plus 1. Stir. Whoops. Oh, yeah, you do need the extra one. And yeah, that's it. In order to guarantee that there is no possible way. All right, yeah, you just had to print out. And that's the pigeonholing concept. So let's talk about that a little bit. So pigeonholing is a concept with. Actually, I wonder. We'll look it up here. We'll Google it, but I think we won, because that. And the way that works is pigeonholing is this concept where there is only. So well, let's back up a little bit. So pigeons used to live in pigeonholes. They still do. And a person that keeps a bunch of pigeons would have one hole for each pigeon and have like a bunch so they could have a bunch of pigeons. If they wanted a lot, they'd make a lot of holes. If they only wanted a couple of pigeons, they'd only make a couple of holes. And actually, we don't even need any of this, too. Watch this. Yeah, we could take all that stuff out. Hmm. And I could move the plus 1 to up here, but it doesn't really matter. If you n equals that plus 1, print n, or you could do, yeah, you can cast it somewhere else. So, huh, that's strange. This is a rather easy one. So anyways, back to pigeonholing. So say there are, a pigeonhole is an option. So like say you have 365 days in the year. In order to guarantee that you have one of every day of the year. Now that's a bad example. Well, I guess the idea of the socks is, how would you explain that? Because this guarantees that no matter what, if you take the number of colors, then pull one more, because, well, I guess there's only 2 pair of socks in a pair. I guess that's how this works in this case. Because say you have 3 colors, you just have the primary colors, and you have blue socks, red socks, or yellow socks. Well, if you pull 4 socks, you're automatic. There's only 6 socks total, and so once you've pulled 1 sock more than you have for colors, you literally cannot. So even if you got all blue socks and all yellow socks, and then and no red socks, and you finally, like, you've already found 2 pairs basically by that. Can you see the hands? Yeah. So if you go red, 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 yellow, yellow, live long and prosper. But basically, these are the socks. And you got red, red, yellow, yellow, then blue. Well, you've already pulled 2 pairs that you could use for your football, so you really only needed to pull red, red, which was like the best case is you just pulled a pair. Probably not going to happen. It could be red, blue, red, yellow, or whatever. But red, yellow, blue, you already have one of every sock. So every pigeonhole is full, and now you need one more. So the very first duplicate you get means that you now have a pair to play football in. That's basically what this whole point is of this one. Oh yeah, and we win. So let's go ahead and submit, because nobody else got it. Let's make sure that it passed. There could be corner cases. I could get like a 90%. Share my code. That's it. They didn't share their code either. They just gave up. And that's all it is. So the idea of pigeonholing is where you have enough things or situations that satisfy enough to where then you start repeating, and that's actually how hashing works. So let's actually see pigeonholing and hashing. So how they're related in computer science. Mapping and pigeonholing are related concepts, both dealing with mapping items into containers. So if you only have so many containers, like say 26 for the English language. So say you're trying to put all of these words, you have like 5,000 words in a book, or we'll just say that you have some book, paragraph, story, chapter, whatever, has 5,000 words. You only have 26 boxes because you're making a dictionary out of this, or basically like how we did before, is we were finding all the duplicate words, and then that duplicate word meant that it was now part of the secret message, which was basically there is no secret message. That's what it was supposed to be. But and then that's the way hashing works too. So hashing, it deals with if you only have a finite number of spaces to put things in, it will somehow it'll like truncate it off it and then do that. So it'll map it to a new place. And yeah, it can get pretty complicated pretty quick, but yeah, the technique used to map data of arbitrary size to a fixed size value, often called a hash code or hash value. This process is typically used in hash tables where data is stored and retrieved efficiently. A hash function takes an input like a string, number, or file and produces a hash value that acts as an index to locate the corresponding data in the hash table. So, and even just that, like you would have, oh, in a hash table, and that's just the most basic example I can think of is like splitting out a section of text or ciphertext, or I guess this would be the plain text to be ciphered, and you're trying to find words that start with the same letter and put them all into the same box or same array or same list or same whatever data structure you're using, and that way you can organize them. And the purpose, or one of like the user story or the purpose of that would be to build a dictionary basically, and you're building like a legit physical dictionary. Now in Python there is a thing called a dictionary which does have a key value pair, so every entry has a word, and definition would basically be that, or you could be an index and a value is usually what a dictionary has. So see the pigeonhole principle. This principle in its simplest form states that if you have more items than containers, at least one container must hold more than one item. There you go. So we were trying to look for a pair, and we have only so many containers, red, blue, yellow, and we have one more, so we know that's going to be in one of the boxes. Now that was a very interesting way, is like they made it for football, probably soccer if it's from someone from a non-English speaking place, because the rest of the world calls football or soccer football. We don't. It's just same with like metric. But anyways, yeah, that's what the pigeonhole principle is. Now, when a hash function maps a large number of possible inputs to a smaller number of possible hash values, the pigeonhole principle guarantees that collisions will occur. Now, that's what you get is a collision where two can map to the same thing. Because, and I guess the best example for that, or how you use a hash table, the main one is your username and password combination. So when you have those, you make a hash out of that. You're mashing up all the characters, numbers, letters, special characters, all that, spaces even, and you're making one value for the result of those two values. You out of two values become one of a fixed length, fixed size, and it's not just padding at the end. So if you look at a bunch of hashes, and padding is where you just add like zeros or ones or whatever to the end of it, just to be like to fill it to make it a certain size. Now, I could ramble about this for hours, but this was just supposed to be a test. Performance issue. This tab is using extra resources. Dismiss. Alright. I don't even know. This doesn't even seem glitchy, but I'd have to like... Again, I'm going to go back and watch this, so we'll see how this is. So... Oh, and it's still not an hour. I got that timing way off when I started. My bad. It's at 56 minutes, so... Anyways, so that's all that, and we will. What's exciting about this is I can start doing this every Sunday, just an hour, maybe 2 hours. If I can set it for a specific time, make myself be ready at that time, then maybe I can start doing a little more consistency. And what I intend to do, let's go ahead and pull up. Aha! So these are cats, and this is like my main thing right now. So those are concerns and thoughts. Basically an analysis of a person, a law, a bill, a whatever, and your concerns about it. Now, I started a new one doing technology and communication, and I'm just starting it, but we also have I have one going for Trump. I'm going to have one going for Biden. I'm going to have one going for Elon Musk, like all these different people. And what it's going to do is it's going to basically be a culmination of all of the debates and stuff that I've seen on social media and in the news articles that I've read, and basically filter it down to be a very basic Boolean yes or no for a lot of things. Like, and it's actually what the human mind does anyway. You weigh out the pros and the cons of any decision and try to make the best decision based on what you know. And you only get so much time to make these decisions, because if everybody made the perfect decision, they would stop taking everything into consideration and then make their decision. But unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of time for that processing. Now we do with AI, which is interesting. And people are getting really mad at Grok because it's becoming woke, which it's not becoming woke. It's that Grok is now pulling all of the resources that are available out there. Now, granted, the people that do tend to report more leaning woke, they report a lot and a lot more, so there's more content, so that could skew results. But at the end of the day, even the people trying to spin it will still report something, some semblance of the truth and the reality, their perception, and that is real. Like, in fact, my dad used to have a Zippo that said, "Perception is reality," and it's very true. So whatever you perceive is going to be your reality. But that's the downside with news, especially mainstream media, and that's why a lot of people say fake news and all that, is because they do. They manufacture the desired result a lot of times. They'll say, "Oh, I want the people to have this feeling after this news story." So they will highlight it, spin it, maybe exaggerate certain parts, magnify certain parts, ignore or blur other parts to sell an emotion or a feeling or a response or like a something like that. And like the real news people will be like, "Oh well, no, I mean," and I hate to say real because that's that true Scotsman fallacy. Actually, let's do that. The true Scotsman fallacy. Now, this is an interesting thing. The no true Scotsman fallacy is an informal fallacy where someone defends a universal claim like no Scotsman puts sugar on his porridge against a counterexample by redefining the group in question to exclude the counterexample rather than conceding the claim is incorrect. It's also known as an appeal to purity. So, and even in that example, they'll say like, "Well, no Scotsman puts sugar on his porridge, or on their porridge it should be, and no Scotsman could be a Scottish human," which it sounds awkward, but it's less awkward than gender inequality and women being oppressed. But anyways, we'll get into that in one of the in concerns and thoughts. Actually, I have a whole thing set up about heman, them, and women to take away the racial or the gender inequality of men and women and everyone in between. Because if you're in between, you're automatically lesser than a woman in our society today. That's just the unfortunate, like, yeah, man, woman, in between, transgender, or the very rare corner case where it's actually a medical thing. And I'm not even about to start to speak on that in this one, but I do have all of this laid out. And if you think about it, the heman, them, and women, well, let's actually do that. Make a cap description. So let's file, make a copy. And this is one of my many Google accounts. This is my social media forward facing one. So even if you saw stuff in this one, which you can't, doesn't matter. And if you hack any of my stuff, the government's probably going to know your name and everything and what you do, and they'll find you. So honeypot is what they call that. Just kidding. Not really. Cat description. So cat, I'd say in pronouns, but I guess that is cat pronouns. Heman, themin, women. Okay. I'll change it later. But anyways, we'll make a copy. Basically, the idea of it is, and this can be included, cross-reference in all of them. Like, there's going to be the main ones like Trump, Biden, any president in the past, actually. In fact, huh, yeah, that's going to be quite the project. If I plan on doing quite a bit of streaming, and if I do even like 2 or 3 hours of, sorry, I just wanted to see. You can't see the search bar on this one. I was just noticing I've got Kubernetes, Happy House Farms, which is a hippie farm idea. That's pretty cool. And then all these other things that we will talk about. But anyways, so um Heman, them, and women. Pronouns and women equality. gender equality. Change this one to hemen, themen, women. Are we using the best pronouns for women and other equality? And I hate saying other equality. And in between, because other is almost like a marginalizing point in itself, because other is like, oh, you're other, you're this or that, like whatever. But in and in between, meaning best pronouns for women and in between equality to men. Two, just the one, I didn't mean to press it twice. So key areas of concern throughout human history, our language has changed often, sometimes in damaging ways. Specifically, gender related linguistics. Think Bart Simpson telling his female teacher to don't have a cow, man. And I honestly, I think that should be a thing. Heman. What we currently know as males or men, we should refer to as he-men or something else. This is the entire issue. Well, hold on. It's not. This is one of the main reasons we have inequality issues between men and women. The other factors being societal factors, stay-at-home moms, and only men should have jobs. And those are both like, and they're still even related in itself, and also biblical ideology of lesser vessel for a description of women or non-men, because like that it really is like, and we've had I remember learning about the hedras in India in an anthropology class, and I want to say, and see, we have Google, so like, how old is the idea of hedras? So these are in India mostly. It's a term used. Okay, get out of here. No, not interested right now. The idea of hedras, a term used in India and other parts of South Asia to describe transgender individuals often assigned male at birth and identifying as women, has deep historical roots dating back thousands of years in South Asian culture. So the reason I bring this up is, well, first off, America is only 249 years old, and this is actually our 250th year. As a country, we're talking thousands, so at least 4 times at the very minimum. And now we're getting back to that pigeonholing thing. It would take 4 of our country's lifetimes to fill just 1,000 years. So in order to find out how many thousands, you need to fill it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're chunking them into these pigeonholes of thousands. So, anyways, my point being is transgender stuff is not new, and it's not like. In fact, there was like an example of a transgender soldier. Let's see. Let's look it up. Transgender transgender soldier from ancient times. There you go. You got to kind of tailor the search to get what you're looking for. While the concept of a transgender soldier, as we understand it today, is a modern construct, historical figures like the Senatus in ancient Rome and the A-Rye of Scythia offer examples of individuals assigned male at birth who lived in ways that challenged traditional gender roles, including potentially serving in roles associated or resembling soldiers. Wait, what? That's the normal way. Like, soldiers are usually only men, potentially serving in roles associated with resembling. Okay, Albert Cashier, a female at birth, lived as a man, was a transgender person to try to serve in the military. It sounds like so. There was like Mulan, like that's the whole story. The Disney story with Mulan is it's a woman posing as a man to fight in the Chinese army. Um, let's see, Senatus. In ancient Greece and Rome, the term senatus referred to effeminate men, often associated. And see, it's usually like that direction, but I mean, Mulan is an example of the other direction where, like, we think of it as like tomboy, and that it makes total sense. And like, I have someone in my family that grew up like that, and it's understandable. Like, hey, little lady, or oh, let me protect you, you lesser vessel, and all that. That's really offensive to a person that wants to be independent, not reliant on a man or someone else. Like, and that makes total sense. Like, you don't need to be owned by this person. Like, your decisions, your thoughts, your actions shouldn't be controlled. Wow, we started with a web development thing. We've got way off on this, but that's the idea. And that's why there's a lot of non-binary stuff, is because people don't want to fit into those pigeonholes of one or the other. They want to live in this in between where it's more fluid. Like, maybe sometimes I'm more masculine, maybe sometimes I'm more feminine. And even that, like, people fixate too much on that. It's like I have feminine roles all the time. I'm a single parent, so I have to do the mother, the father, and like everything of this household. Doesn't mean that I think I'm a woman and I'm going to go serve, but if I wanted to, that'd be fine too in this day and age. So, and it's always happened. That's why I bring up the idea of hedras, is because thousands of years, this is nothing new. So, just like well, we'll get into that. And like, and I actually did mark this like drugs, because we'll talk about drugs in these streams. Politics, because we'll talk about politics in these streams, and I will be explaining everything in excruciating detail um, in these streams. So thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching these. Thank you for those that showed up and watched the test in real time. Yeah, like I said, it started off with 3 people, and I think that might have been because it was labeled drugs, but there's a lot of curious people in the world wondering, and I live in Colorado where drugs are legal to a point, certain ones, cannabis and naturally occurring psychedelics. So the hard stuff that's actually pretty scary, and I kind of agree that should still be illegal, at least for now, at least until we can regulate it and make sure that only what you're expecting is in the substance. Then it could be legalized, and that's fine. Really, the only really dangerous ones are meth and opiates. Like, if you stay away from those two things, well, and nitrous oxide too. Like, a lot of people think that that's not that bad because it's legal, but the stuff that it does to your brain, like, oh, it's bad. So, but weed, cannabis, it's not that big of a deal. So we'll talk all about that. In fact, that's one of my cats, is the war on drugs. Actually, let's talk about that real quick. Nixon started the war on drugs as political lawfare, because he did. We have an aide saying from the Vera Institute, although this one I remember this link was gone. Okay, so that's just talking about that they declared it. Nixon aide says war on drugs targeted Black Panthers and anti-war hippies. Oh, it's even recorded. One of Richard Nixon's top advisors and a key figure on the Watergate scandal said the war on drugs was created as a political tool to fight blacks and hippies, according to a Twitter. So that's it. That's it. And I apologize for saying the term blacks. Like, I honestly don't know what the most appropriate thing is for anymore. I personally think it should be a gradient scale, like light skinned, really light skinned, medium skinned, dark skinned, very dark skinned. Like, if you just did that, law enforcement could find their person based on that kind of gradient scale. And that's really the only reason, one of the only reasons we have that. Well, no, actually, I shouldn't say that. There are some nefarious reasons, and that's actually what Trump did, and that's in the Trump cat. In fact, let's pull up the Trump cat. So I could go back to here, and this is why I want to fix up this website. And I might actually do that more tonight and just stream for another couple of hours. But so I got this. What's your cat on that? And I have Trump, President Trump. He is the president, though. He won the election. I will give him that. But he is a horrible president, and I don't support a lot of what he does. Sorry, that's how it is. I don't like Biden either. They're both garbage, but it's the lesser of two evils mentality. It's kind of gotten us into this trouble anyway. So, all right. So the cat, President Trump. This is what I already found, and I tried to come in with a positive one because I have friends from back home that love Trump. They're super MAGA. They love what he says. They love what he's going for. They hate the illegals. They want him out of here. Ugh, I can't stand it because, like, I grew up in Buena Vista, and we had Leadville just north of us. Wait, south of us, I think. No, I always get those mixed up. Salida is south. That's right. I always thought Salida being more important because it was the county seat was north. I mean, that's just a misconception of like up being good and north and versus south being, and it's just supposed to be a cardinal direction. Much like skin color, it was only meant to be an identifier. Like the main reason it even exists nowadays is an identifier for law enforcement because they need to find somebody. They don't have time to be politically correct. Be like, well, he looked like Asian descent. He might have been a woman. He might have been trans. Like they don't have time for that. Like they're trying to catch somebody. They got to cut the crud and just go right to who it is identifying. I get that. However, you say that into a radio and you got someone right there. Huh, you just messed up. So anyways, but what I wrote here, I started trying to be positive and trying to be like, he has donated money, he has run charities, all of that. However, this was the very first thing I pointed out. Is he capable of problem solving in a way that benefits the poor when never having been poor himself? I mean, wait, what happened? Oh, that was a pop-up. It hijacked my thing, so it brought that one to the forks. It's like, hey, pay us money and do something. But no, so I have this, like, so think about it as a foot race, right? And you're born into a wealthy family without any poor people problems. You don't have to worry about paying for college, your first car. You can take a lady out to dinner or a guy, whatever you want to do, and you don't have to worry about money. You could work because your parents will probably want you to learn a sense of responsibility somehow. With Trump, he worked in his daddy's real estate agency, and they legit had, and this is why I'm saying like that identification thing. They had a C. Let's actually look that up. Let's look it up in this one. Um, Trump family used an identifier, a racial identifier on their rental applications. Now let's see what this kicks back. So Google, do your thing. Yep, right there. Donald Trump's housing discrimination case still chases him. It's from 1973. There's a federal lawsuit brought against Donald Trump and his company for alleged racial discrimination. Again, this is the 70s. It's a long time. However, look at this. Here's the description right here. Yes, in the 1970s, the Department of Justice sued Donald Trump and his father, Fred Trump, for alleged racial discrimination in their real estate practices. Testimony and government filings during the investigation revealed that Trump employees were instructed to mark rental applications from black apartment seekers, again, African American, dark skin. Again, I would say like just dark to really dark, because there's like, even within like African descent, there is, and then even with white people, you could have dark or medium skin if you're tan, or, you spend a lot of time outside. Right now, you're not fair skinned. You're not really even white, even though we know that your like ethnicity is Caucasian, Italian, Irish, and all these things. We could get into that too. Why white power versus black power is completely different. Because, well, it's more African, but even that's not accurate because black people are not guaranteed, especially nowadays. Like people with really dark skin could be from a lot of time from Central America, from all like slavery and everything was intermixed. But even before that, they had the Moors of Scotland. They had people like going to all of these. Like I mean, they didn't just stay in Africa. And yeah, we could get into all that too. But like in the beginning, people were just people, and as it is today, people are still just people. Some people are just pricks about it. So, and like this, a C for colored. So some sources also mention the use of other racial identifiers such as number 9. This was part of a larger pattern where black and Puerto Rican applicants were allegedly steered towards buildings with a higher proportion of minorities or outright denied rentals in predominantly white buildings. So there it is. And the findings, let's see, the key points. So I guess that's it. So I put that in the cat for Donald Trump. Because that's just one example. There's multiple examples. Now, the charity, this was something that was good that I found. Over the years, the Trump Foundation has made numerous grants to various organizations, including those supporting conservative causes, religious institutions, and organizations related to his businesses. From 1987 to 2006, he contributed 5.4 million to the foundation. Was spent by the end of 2006. In 2000, again, 5.4 million. This guy's worth billions. That's, and for anybody who doesn't realize that off the top of their head, that's 1,000 billion. So he's got like what 3,000 of these things. He gave 5 to this foundation over from 1987 to 2006. Wow. So actually, let's do that real quick. What's the calculator on that? What's your cat on that? That's why we have this. Okay, it's taking a while. Oh, and actually that had a bunch of my stuff on there. Calculator. I don't know what that was. That was an advertisement, but could be relevant to my stuff. Here we go. So that time span, so from 2006 to 1987, let's see how many years that is. 2006 minus 1987. So give a rough estimate. It might be inclusive. So 19 years. So 5.4 million. So one. Actually, let's just do that. So 5, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So it's 5 million. And that point is the remainder divided over, what was that, 19 years? 19? Yeah, we'll call it that, 18, 19. Divided up into 19. So every year he gave 284,000 on average. That's how much he gave. And we're talking this guy's making millions. Okay, so millions, if not billions now. In fact, during his first term as president, his company, or just putting Secret Service to protect him, he charged $2 million, almost 2 million. In fact, we could look that up. What was it like? How much did it cost to house Trump's Secret Service his first term? And just that is gonna match close enough, I hope, to the one that I found. Yep, the Civics Responsibility, and this is the one I was looking at. This is an organization that says, hey, we want to keep you honest. And it says, yes, we can see it. Although, yeah, 2 million. All right, so what's the president salary 2025? 400,000. It's 400,000 times 4, 1.6 million. He cost almost as much, actually more. He costs more. Nearly 2 million. So we've got 1.6 million, nearly 2 million. Let's see. Newly acquired records show roughly 1.75 million being paid to Trump's businesses. However, these records appear to be incomplete. Previously published records by Crew and others, which do not appear, push the total closer to 2 million. So it's between 1.75 and 2 million. He's only supposed to make 1.6. Like, this is money that went into his business. Those are earnings. That's as if somebody went and spent 2 million staying at Trump's hotels, ordering takeout, ordering or room service, getting massages, getting all that stuff, being pampered and being very well taken care of. He donated his salary to earn it back in BS. That's basically my point with all this. So that's a concern and thought. So I put it in there. That's tech and oh no, this is in my other browser. So this is yeah. So there's that. Now the Trump Foundation is a nonprofit, various grants and donations, and I would like to. Actually, I did. That was a list of the grants I think, and then there's Family Charity, Eric Trump, and the Eric Trump Foundation. Which even that, I saw some sketchy stuff doing. Like they did some stuff, and they did raise some money for cancer research and all that. But then he like removed himself from it to not link it to the Trump. So like I don't know. He did some things that seemed noble at first, but I think if you dig into it and look into it, it might be a little sketchier. I don't know. So, um, yeah, I could and will go on this, but for now, let's go ahead and call it. That's about a good hour, a good test. Thank you for joining, and I will see you in the next one. All right, at almost an hour. We got 40 seconds. So, but yeah, that's the point of all this. We are going to do coding, cybersecurity, social engineering, preventative blue teaming, common sense building, educating, and all of that. So, yeah, my 2 cents, immigration. For the cost of the wall, we could have built affordable housing. Oh, that's the other thing. Alligator Alcatraz. And one of the things that I'm going to put in here, so we have all this alternate perspectives, additional information. I'm going to have like the Hitler reference, like comparing Trump to Hitler. It's very scary, and there are a lot of parallels, including constructing Alligator Alcatraz in 8 days. It took 8 days to build that thing. They could have housed the homeless and fed the homeless for all that. They just proved it. Like it's supposed to house something like 8,000 people or something. I don't know, but yeah, it took 8 days. It's ridiculous. So yeah, American Academy. That's where he was going to do a free college thing, but we'll see how that does. Market manipulation with his thing. Maryland man, which was the Supreme Court, unanimously voted 9-0 that due process should be afforded to any person, not citizen, person in this country. And that's what the Constitution says. And they were very specific about the distinction between citizen and person. So by constitutional law, what Trump's doing with ICE is illegal. It's unconstitutional by the nature of it. Now he's trying to declare an emergency, like a wartime. There's these things that can suspend the Constitution, like they did with the Japanese internment camps. I think it was like I mean, that might not be an example of this, but that's like the kind of ways they could get around this. Be like, well, no, this doesn't count, and these aren't people in this situation. So it's basically bending the rules of the Constitution. They never intended for the country to just abduct people without due process and kick them out of the country. Because if you don't do due process, they could start doing that to anybody, and then just be like, whoopsie, we just did. And the first white illegal immigrant, a Canadian, died in ICE custody. So now that it's happening to brown people or non-medium skin. See, again, that scale, like medium dark, like medium middle. That's about right. That also that could link Hispanic and India and South Asian and there's even places in Asia where people are generally a little darker skinned, and even that's too much for a lot of like American minds. But like this would be a more inclusive scale to describe people. I don't know. That's going to be one of the many things that I do a concerns and thought on. This has been a fun test. I like this. Now let's go see how bad the audio is. So, oh, sorry, one person just joined. Apologies, I'm actually on my way out for this one. I'll be back on tonight after I adjust this because I'm going to see how bad or how good this sounds. So, ta for now. I'll see you in the other one or in the next one. Thanks for joining. Hope you learned something. Now you can go back and watch the recording for the nonsense and the weird. Oh, basically all we did is just this. We're looking in here. We're looking in my GitHub, doing some of that, doing some coding. So, all right. I will see you in the next stream. Thanks for coming. Or wait, we could also do let's show what that is. I'll leave with a few. Actually, I should just do that as an outro. Just have all the different. These are graffiti things that I've seen in my travels. That's Spain. That's Malaga. Let's see. That's also Malaga. Those are some really cool murals right there by the beach. They painted the dividers, all cool things. That is Malaysia, Penang, actually. I got a lot of there. They had some really cool stuff where it was like, yeah, that stuff where they made like a cartoon on the side of a building. That's also Penang. I like that tooth too. It's like a rotten tooth. That was a more like humanistic one. Still, that's the same alleyway actually, and that it's like a very long one, and then more Penang. That's India actually. That's an art school. That's in the courtyard there. That I think is also India, Mumbai, and that's Mumbai. Um, and that's all of them. I think I'm missing some stuff. I need to add to that. So, anyways, we will continue to improve this stream. I think it's going to be a Sunday evening thing, and I will just continue to make it better, continue to do more things, take feedback. And I know this sound isn't great. Like this headset, it's still a lot better than the other headsets I have, but I know it sounds tinny, and it could be better. I do have an external microphone. It's a cheapo. We'll see about that. See how that one goes. But yeah. So, all right. See everybody in the next one.